Hey guys, so yeah, again, it's been a while since I've made a video. Last film I saw actually was Kingsman: The Golden Circle, so it's not like I've been seeing movies and not reviewing them. It's just the fact I haven't seen any movies because I moved to university, as you can probably tell by the new room and the new backdrop. I know the lighting's terrible. I will be working on that. It's pretty late, so there's not much I can do, but I'll work on a better, setup for all of this. But for now, I just really wanted to talk about Blade Runner 2049 because, my God, it was a fucking experience. It was absolutely incredible. So, like quite a few people, it took me a few viewings of the first Blade Runner to actually fully get the film, if you know what I mean. It's not when I first watched the movie like I didn't like it, because I always liked this movie, but it just didn't always gel with me. I was always sort of like confused about certain things. But I watched it for a third time yesterday, actually, before I saw 2049, and that is the moment I realised, yeah, I love Blade Runner. So going into Blade Runner 2049, I was excited, just fresh with Blade Runner in my memory, and I can safely say the movie vastly improves upon a lot of things. So much happens in this movie that really directly leads into Blade Runner that I'm going to keep this review very vague. I will make a spoiler video on the movie probably tomorrow, depending on, how busy things get tomorrow, but that will be coming, so stay tuned for that one. So yeah, I'm going to keep this review of Blade Runner 2049 very, very spoiler-free and very vague. So let's start off by saying the basic plot, which again, it's so hard to talk about the plot without spoiling anything at all, but I'm just going to tell you the plot that people already know. Basically, Ryan Gosling is in this movie as a Blade Runner who, by a series of circumstances, has to find Rick Deckard, who we know from the first movie played by Harrison Ford. And that's all I can really say. There's not much else I can say that really will, keep this movie a surprise for people. So that goes to show you how much content is in this movie. And this movie is very long. It's 2 hours, 43 minutes, I believe. It flies by so quickly. By the time it ends, I was sat looking at the screen thinking, I'm completely stunned. I mean, the first time I went to see The Graduate this year in cinemas, that's how I felt. And I'm not saying this movie's anything like The Graduate, but coming out of this movie, I felt the way I did with that. I was looking up at the screen like, I have witnessed something special. This is a cinematic experience from the get-go. The very first scene, the very first thing you see, the landscapes are amazing. So, of course, the visuals are awesome. It's directed by the director of Arrival. I'm not even going to pronounce his name. I think it's like Denis Villeneuve. Not going to try it. But, and it's produced by Ridley Scott, of course. So, there was a heavy influence on Blade Runner in Blade Runner 2049, as you would expect. But it doesn't do what a lot of sequels do, and it doesn't try and copy the original. It really has a story to tell, and that's what I loved so much about this movie. There's a lot to tell in this movie, and it feels like a necessary sequel. I mean, it's been such a long time since we got Blade Runner. I don't even know what year this movie came out. Let's see, 19... No, it doesn't say on the back of this case, but that doesn't matter. Came out a long time ago. That's all we need to know. So having a movie come out this far apart from the original, 30 years later. Okay, I could have just thought of that earlier. This is a 30-year later movie. I should have known. Doesn't matter. Let's not get into how stupid I am with dates, and let's just talk about Blade Runner. So yeah, from the get-go, I was watching this and I was like, I'm stunned by the look and feel of this movie. The atmosphere itself is incredible. The music adds so much to this film. Cinematographer of this film, if he doesn't get nominated or even win an Oscar this year, then that is a serious misfire, because this movie has some of the nicest looking visuals I've seen ever. So much about this movie is great. I mean, this is Blade Runner 2049. Without a doubt, it's probably one of the greatest sequels I've ever seen, because it's one of the only ones that actually improves upon the original, from what I can remember. I can think of Dark Knight, Empire Strikes Back, Captain America the Winter Soldier, not much more. And Blade Runner 2049 just does everything I wanted it to do. And it does nothing that I didn't want it to do. If I have any flaws of it, I'd probably go ahead and say that Jared Leto's character is a bit pointless and he doesn't give a great performance. Jared Leto gets a lot of backlash, and I'm one of the people that actually likes him as an actor. I love Dallas Buyers Club and, American Psycho, even though he's barely in it. But I like those movies, and I think he does a good job in the movies. But in this one, he's so hammy and over the top, and it just doesn't really fit the tone of the movie as such. But this is a movie that takes itself very seriously, and then you've got Jared Leto's performance on top of it. But luckily, Jared Leto's only in it for probably about the same amount of time as he was for the Joker in Suicide Squad. That's not even an exaggeration. He's barely in this. And that's what I mean. There is only one scene where he's really necessary in the film, which I won't go into detail about at all until I get to the spoiler video. But that's my only real flaw with the movie. Everything else about it worked for me. This is probably the best I have ever seen Harrison Ford act. You know, his character's very sort of traumatized, and he's very, you know, a lot's happened in his life that's led up to him in this moment, and it's led up to his, you know, fateful meeting with Ryan Gosling's character, Officer K. That, you know, you have to be a great veteran actor to pull off what he does in this film, and Harrison Ford is just that. You know, he done really well as Han Solo in Force Awakens, you know, coming back to that. And he's done really well in this one, you know. Coming back to his old roles, people are starting to say, you know, Harrison Ford's just doing it for the money now. I don't feel like he was with Blade Runner 2049. Because I've seen him in interviews, and he seems really enthusiastic about it, even though he supposedly hates Blade Runner. But, you know, if he didn't care about this movie, then we wouldn't have gotten the performance that we did from him. So I'm more than grateful that he did return. And also, yeah, Ryan Gosling is very much the main character of this film. And I haven't seen him in anything better than this either. I mean, I've never seen Ryan Gosling do a bad movie that I can think of, like an outright terrible movie. I don't think I've ever seen Ryan Gosling do something like that. But in this film, he gives it his A game, and, you know, the twists around his character are absolutely incredible. I can't wait to actually talk about them, because I feel like this review is very vague, because there's not much I can say. But all I can say is that it's stunning, and without a doubt, I think this is definitely my favourite film of 2017 so far. It's up there with Logan and Baby Driver. I feel like this movie definitely should be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, because just everything about it is incredible. I love Blade Runner 2049. So if you've seen Blade Runner 2049, let me know what you think of it. Do you feel like it's an improvement upon the original? Personally, I do. But, you know, I love the original also. So, you know, but I'm not one of those people who grew up with the original, so I wasn't that attached to the original. But I think it's a great movie. So, yeah. Definitely go and check out Blade Runner 2049. It's probably the best cinematic experience you're going to have for a very long time. Try and see it on the biggest screen possible. I haven't seen this movie in IMAX yet, but I feel like I'm going to go and see it again, and possibly in IMAX, because it needs to be experienced on the big screen. Just purely for cinematography alone. You know, it takes it slow. There's not much action. You know, if you don't like slow burners, this movie's going to piss you off. And if you didn't like the original, you're definitely not going to like this one, because this movie's much more long-winded, and much more happens in this movie. It requires much more concentration than the first one did. And that movie, you know, you have to be very switched on for the first one. So I can't wait to see Blade Runner 2049 again, and add it to my Blu-ray collection eventually, right next to Blade Runner. So if you've seen Blade Runner 2049, like I said, let me know what you think. Comment below. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.